I am so excited to share that you can now watch all of my upcoming podcasts on my brand new YouTube channel for the What Now podcast. So many of you have asked for more video content, and now you can watch these powerful conversations face to face. Every story, every testimony, every moment of faith and resilience, you'll now find it all on YouTube. So I'll be posting more of my episodes there, along with new short clips and deeper insights to help strengthen your faith and remind you that you are never alone on this journey. I invite you to subscribe on my YouTube channel at Podcast What Now. That's at Podcast What Now, so you never miss an episode. This is the What Now podcast, where we have meaningful discussions to motivate, educate, and inspire you. I am Mary Alice Hatch, your host. In this uplifting episode, I sit down with Casey Elliot, one of the 3 tenors and founding members of the group GENTRI, to explore the soul-stirring journey behind the group's success. From early mentors who recognized his potential to the pivotal role his wife played in forming GENTRI, Casey shares how personal relationships shape both his music and his mission. We dive into the evolution of their sound, from pop experiments to powerful, spiritually inspired music, and the profound stories from fans whose lives were touched or even saved by their songs. With honesty and heart, Casey opens up about the deeper purpose driving his work. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to GENTRI, this conversation will leave you inspired by the power of music to heal, uplift, and transform.
This is the What Now podcast.
Today I'm here with Casey Elliot, one of the 3 tenors of the gentleman's trio called GENTRI. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mary Alice. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here today. We have so many interesting things to talk about. We did a little pre-interview together, and I got some background on your family that I'd love you to share. You had some pretty talented parents. I'd love you to just give us a little background about them and
Yes.
how your observations of your parents, their music career as a child, influenced your own decisions to pursue music yourself. So
No, I love my parents so much. I am so grateful to have amazing parents. I actually was just with them last night. We went on a little double date, and I'm like, gosh, my parents are still so cool. They're like your quintessential artist, forever young parents. Like, the thing that I would hear over and over as a kid was, wow, your parents look so young. And now that I'm in my 40s, when I sing with my mom, people are like, we thought that was your wife.
Oh, that's good. She's loving that.
Oh yeah, she is just forever young. Both of my parents. It's weird. And I guess I didn't inherit those genes because I look as old as she does, apparently.
I kind of know you as like a classical music artist, but your parents were like singing Cyndi Lauper and Beatles and hip hop. It's very different.
Yeah, so I grew up partially in Southern California in Riverside area, and during the early years of my life, first almost decade of my life, my parents were in an '80s band, and they would tour all over Southern California. My mom had the huge hair. My dad played piano and arranged for the band, and that was like the environment I grew up in, just them doing music all the time. Yeah. So they were great mentors and inspiration for me at an early age.
I remember you saying you were like hiding in the truck trying to get in on one of their tours.
Yes, I couldn't have been older than like 6, and I wanted to go on the gig so bad. And one particular gig, especially in this magical place called Palm Springs that I would hear all about, and it sounded so much fun. And so they had a truck that they would use to put all their gear and drums and everything in. And so I literally hid myself in between the drum cases, true stowaway, trying to go on the gig. And they found me, unfortunately, before they left and kicked me out. They're like, we're going to be home at like 3 a.m. You cannot come.
Yeah, you're out of here. Sorry. Maybe in 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And then you must have had some mentors that kind of guided you along the way. I mean, I feel like a lot of these people have really gotten into the industry. There are people that kind of entered their life at really opportune times to help kind of guide their journey. Did you have anyone like that kind of influenced you in this industry?
Well, I mean, obviously, to start with my parents, my parents were such good mentors, and you learn a lot just from observation. And I mentioned that they would go on these gigs and they'd get home at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, sometimes depending on where they were gigging. And they'd be at church the next day, front row, 9 a.m. church. And fortunately at that time we lived right across the street from the church. Actually, they said that they would sit in the front row of the church because that was the only way that they would stay awake. So we were front row, 9 a.m. church, and
That's a strategy.
totally. So, I think that obviously I learned a lot musically from them, but just as like people and what it means to like, do music, but also keep your faith and have a family and do the hard things. I've been super blessed. And, I would say like I've had some incredible teachers in my life. When I got into high school, that's when I started doing theater. And fortunately, I had the most amazing theater teacher in high school. Like you cannot have a better teacher than I had. She was so dedicated to what she would to the productions that she put on. She would go to the community and raise additional funds so that the musicals would be spectacular and that we could have the best experience possible.
So her heart and soul was in it.
Yeah. I mean, we would rehearse every day. She was at the school till 10 a.m. every day, overseeing, set building and the rehearsals and everything. 10 p.m. Anyways, she was just like all in, dedicated, and so she kind of took me under her wing and really just helped develop my love and talent for theater and for performing, and also somebody of deep faith. And so she wasn't afraid to teach principles, even gospel principles, in the context of what we were doing. It was awesome. Like I was just so lucky to have such an amazing teacher.
That's so cool, because here in San Clemente, where I live, the San Clemente High School has a woman from our congregation who goes and is the music and theater director there. And she is totally into it. So positive, so charismatic, so dedicated. She comes and fundraises with people in the town to make it next level.
Yeah.
And it's contagious. Like these kids really feel like they're in a real professional production.
I love that.
And a lot of these kids go on to do theater.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
sounds like you had someone kind of like that.
Totally. So grateful for amazing educators, and they're not compensated nearly enough for what they do. They, their job description and compensation is based on a normal work day, and they're dedicating hundreds and hundreds of additional hours just because they love the kids.
You have to have the passion for something like that. I mean, you really do have to love it. Can't be for the paycheck,
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted, you talked a little bit before when we were speaking about your wife. She was instrumental in a lot of this. Can you tell me about her role in forming GENTRI and you kind of going down this path?
Well, apparently she always wanted to be married to somebody in a boy band, and she
created that.
She finally got her wish. She just orchestrated everything from behind the scenes.
She manifested it for herself.
Yeah. No, so the story is actually kind of funny. She had been kind of prodding me throughout the years to do an album and to record some stuff, and I always felt like, I don't know, I just don't see it. I don't see I'm kind of a business nerd, and so I kind of was looking at it from a marketability standpoint. I'm like, people don't want another theater album, or people don't want, I don't know. I just didn't see like any connection. And so she had just gone to a Time Out for Women event and saw this music group perform, and it was some younger guys, and we were Brad Lever and I and my wife and a friend that I had toured with in Aida years before, and another one of our friends, we're all sitting around our kitchen table playing games, and she was just like, you know what, you guys should start a group. And she went on to say, like, I was just at this Time Out for Women and I saw this group perform, and they were like these younger guys, and they were good, like musically and everything, but it would just be so interesting to see guys that are like a little bit more mature. We were like 30, super mature.
More quote mature.
Yeah, yeah, very, very life experienced. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I was the only one with kids at the time, but she's like, you have kids and like you have some more life experience, and you could kind of be a little bit more manly. It's she was like these guys that sang like they were more boyish, and you guys could be like more manly. So when she said that, I was like, actually, that's kind of interesting because I was thinking boy band, then I started to think man band, like yeah, I like the sound of the man band. But the more we started talking about it that night, of like, okay, so what kind of music could we sing? What could we stand for? We kind of settled on this idea of like the modern gentleman. And the more we started talking about like, well, what is a gentleman? What does that mean? What is historically that meant? And where are we today with like being men and being gentlemen and all of the things that come with that? It's like, actually, yeah, that got me excited to sort of stand for something and to have a standard that we could rise up to. Um, and we, our friend from LA that she was kind of dating at the time, and she just went on about how frustrated she was about the dating scene because all the guys she was going out with like were just these like millennial boys. Like they didn't open doors, they didn't pay for dinner, they're just like they're on their phone. And so it's like, yeah, it just like clicked. I was like, yes, that I could get passionate about that. And we had no idea what music we would even sing. We were just like theater nerds.
Yeah.
So the next day I called Steven Nelson, who is this incredible arranger. I only knew him as an accompanist at that point. I just thought he was incredible. I'd worked with him like a few months before that. And so I was like, hey man, we have this idea for this music group. And he tells me now, he's like, I was not having it. He's like, these guys in their 30s want to start a boy band and they want me to be a part of it. I'm like, no, not interested. But he did an arrangement for us. And then when we got together to sing it, he's like, it's too bad this isn't going to work because these guys sound pretty good. And so I convinced him to do one other arrangement, which he did. And then at that point, we kind of started talking about this concept around cinematic pop. And as soon as we talked about that, he's always been a closet like film scorer. He loves orchestra, loves orchestration, obsessed with all the great film scorers out there, John Williams, and and so as soon as we kind of painted that picture of like, yeah, we want to do orchestral music, we want it to be epic and sweeping and beautiful and all the things you get in movies and theater, but then have this underlying like meaning and inspiration to it. He was like, okay, I'm in.
He's like, I can get behind that.
Yeah, exactly.
Got him at the epic movie theater, the movie scores.
Yeah.
So your wife steps in. Okay, it's not going to be a boy band anymore. It's going to be a man band, a gentleman's band.
Yes.
The gentleman's trio. You recruit two other guys. You get them on board. You're starting with pop. Then you transition to classical.
Yeah, we kind of started with musical theater just because that's what we knew. We did a couple of musical theater arrangements. We did an 80s mashup medley, just to kind of try something.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like putting some feelers out and trying to find out what we would do. And it was funny because Steven had been working on this other project with another artist. And one night at my house, he's like, yeah, let me show you this other thing I've been working on. Like, see what you guys think. And it was this beautiful orchestration that like had this incredible like emotional build and just release and this sweeping melody. And he finishes and we're just like, yeah, Steven, we want that.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we didn't know you could do that. Like, again, he was just this really great accompanist that could kind of like arrange on the spot and stuff. But we had no idea the full breadth of his capabilities from a like orchestrating standpoint. He's just a genius.
So you've got your three people, you're launching into kind of different areas of music. How did you decide on the kind of the spiritual element of the music that you do? Because you have a lot of depth and spirituality to the music you sing.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we've always wanted our music to be just authentic to who we are. And it's been interesting because we've tried a lot of different things, including writing and putting stuff out that we felt like might be popular. And it's always, always, always been the stuff that we put out that we just feel a connection with, that personally moves us on some level. It's really only those that have done well. So it's been an interesting lesson of like, you know what, you can't, and we've kind of, this has become like this internal mantra for us. You can't chase popular
Yeah.
because you'll never catch it, and you can't chase cool. And like, we just embraced the fact that we're not going to try to be cool. We're not going to, like, first of all, we're a man band, not a boy band. So we're kind of past the cool phase.
That door is
It's,
closed. You're on the man
yeah.
band now.
Yeah. So once you're a man band, you can do whatever you want.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, you said you've gotten feedback from people where your music has been so powerful, really touched people's lives, even saved some people's lives. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the aspects that is very sobering and humbling of what we do, is getting these messages from people and understanding the impact that our music has had on them. And I mean, yeah, it's, you get these messages of people that say, I was thinking about taking my life, but your song pulled me out of it, or I lost my mom or my dad, and your song brought peace to me, and I knew it was going to be okay. And it's like, it's crazy how we kind of talk about music creations being these like life forms almost. And you hear things like, it has to have a heartbeat, and it has to make your heart sing. And I think that there's so much truth to that. Like, when you write something that really resonates with you and you put it out into the world, it has kind of this heartbeat, and then it continues to live and interact and evolve in ways that you had no intention of it doing, because it connects with people at different levels and in different ways. And so it's been so fun to see how our songs, especially our original songs, have like just resonated with people in ways that we had no idea that they would.
I mean, does that kind of help you keep going? I mean, because it does ebb and flow in this business. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
you saying you kind of went into it full time. It wasn't really what you wanted full time. So you went back to the day job, splitting time with Gentry. How does that all work?
Yeah, totally. We talk about that a lot with Gentry because it's still a lot of work. I mean, we do have our other pursuits. We're all kind of pursuing various things and career pursuits, and so it's like, and families and everything. So it's like, okay, if we're going to do Gentry, it has to be really worth it. And that's where it kind of just comes back to like, if it doesn't move us, if it doesn't excite us, then we just don't do it. We just don't work on it.
Yeah.
And that even goes for writing songs. Like, sometimes, you labor over these songs, and at the end of the day, you just have to say, yeah, there's no life there for whatever reason. And so
Yeah.
you just let it go.
No, it's interesting too, because when people are really passionate about what you're doing, you feel that energy as a
Yeah.
listener. Like, you can feel that they are invested, they are totally devoted to what they're doing. We had Bayless,
Oh,
help me,
Dallin.
Dallin Bayless.
Yeah.
He is so phenomenal.
Yeah. I love
And
him.
he is in my daughter's stake, and he was on the ward council, and I was attending her ward one day, and he gave up and gave a talk, good talk, don't really remember what it was about, honestly. But then he came up and after sang his testimony, and it was
Mm,
so powerful. Every single person in that room I looked around was weeping. I
yeah.
was weeping. I mean, it was so soul filling, and you could feel his testimony
Yeah.
through that music. And at the end, I went up to him like, you didn't even need to give that talk. You just needed to sing that song. That was amazing.
What's funny about that is I'm currently serving on the High Council, and sometimes I feel like, you know what, I really shouldn't even be talking. Like, why am I even giving these talks?
You just need to sing a
I'll
song
just
like
come
Helen
and like,
Bayless.
yeah, nobody cares what I have to say. I should just sing something.
Sure. Everyone wants to hear you. Your voice is like an angel.
No, that's awesome. And it's speaking of Dallin, it's so cool too to be in a community. Um, it's a pretty tight knit, small community, the artist community, especially kind of in the LDS world, and just to have people like Dallin and others who are great examples. Like I remember listening to Dallin on my mission, and now I've had the opportunity to work with him a number of times and become friends with him, and
Well,
just
he was
like,
in Les Miserables, wasn't he, on
yeah,
Broadway?
yeah,
Yeah,
he toured with Les Mis and Phantom, and
yeah.
just amazing.
He was actually in my ward when we raised our kids in Boston for 17 years, and he was in my ward there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then he came out to work with BYU. But
Yeah,
he's so talented. He's so talented. I think he
yeah, really.
performed with Jenny Oakes Baker for a little bit too on her Christ tour.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I want to hear about your tours. Like if people want to listen to you, what's coming up for you? What's happening in August? You have something going on.
Yes, we are doing our first ever little residency at Hale Center Theater in Sandy, Utah. And for those that aren't familiar with Hale Center Theater, it's the top community theater in the world, like literally in the entire world. I think they have something like 685,000 people come through their doors every year
Whoa.
to see shows, and it's not that big of a venue. So they have a theater in the round that seats like 900 something, and then they have the Jewel Box Theater, which is where we'll be. I think that seats like 400 or 500 people, and they're just constantly doing shows. They've built this amazing community and fan base for the theater, and that's actually the theater where we all met, the Gentry guys. So we were all doing Les Mis when we decided to form Gentry.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and that was 10 years ago. So this year we're celebrating 10 years of Gentry. So it's kind of our 10-year anniversary show. It'll be a mixture of Broadway and originals and covers and just a good variety of music.
So it'll be a big mix.
Yeah.
So for people who aren't familiar with Gentry, explain like what is your performance like? What kind of music are you singing? What does that experience look like?
Well, we tell people if our music doesn't make you want to run through a wall or cry like a baby, then we haven't done our job. so you can
through a wall.
Yeah, you can work out to our music, or you can listen to it on Sunday. It's great.
You got the full spectrum then.
We do. We really do. And we do a lot of Christmas music. That's been a focus for us over the years. We have 2 hymns albums. We have a handful of albums with original stuff, with covers. So yeah, we have like 7 or 8 albums out so far. We're putting 2 more out this year. We got a Broadway album coming out and a new Christmas album. So yeah, lots of variety for people to listen to.
Well, we were talking a little bit about like music being really transformative. It really is. Music can be totally transformative. Several years ago, 5 years ago now, I interviewed Alex Boyer. He was suicidal at this point in his life. He was in a boy band, huge in England, and just not in the right frame of mind, not with the right people, had a very hard upbringing. And he was in a club and he had this song come on, and the words to the song were exactly the words he needed to hear to save his life.
Yeah.
He was just going to take his life after he left the club that night.
Wow.
And he heard the words to this song, and it just spoke to his soul that he was not supposed to do that. And he went on to have an incredible music career. So, yeah. I mean, music is transformative for a lot of, I mean, I know for me, I feel the Spirit more through music than I feel even through church talks, honestly. Like when I'm there and I hear a beautiful piece of music, it speaks to my very soul.
Totally.
I mean, is that part of your motivation to keep going with Gentry, even though you've got the day job and a family and a lot pulling at you?
Yeah, 100%. It's seeing that impact. It's being impacted ourselves. It's kind of the whole idea of the giver is just as blessed as the receiver. It's a mutual benefit thing, and yeah, music is truly the universal language. Mm-hmm. It's like And that's the amazing thing that we've seen on a small scale, even with us, is just even internationally, people are moved by the music, and they may not even understand all of the words, but the intent of the music, it just reaches the soul. It's just its
Yeah.
own unique language.
I remember when we lived in Boston, my neighbor across the street was Roman Catholic, like hardcore, went to mass every day, rosary, like the whole thing. When
Yeah.
she was about 86, I took her to the Tabernacle Choir concert in Boston when they came on tour. And it was interesting because she listened around her family radio in the 30s when the Tabernacle Choir first started. They would listen to Tabernacle Choir. She's listened to the music and the spoken word her entire life.
Wow.
And I'm like, I have to take you to see this real in live. And she was weeping when she was listening to them sing. And she just said, I feel like I'm in heaven. I'm
Yeah.
like, you are. This is what it's going to be like.
Honestly,
All the sister missionaries come over later today.
yeah, exactly. I have some really great friends for you to meet. No, it's so cool. And, I remember the first time I heard the choir perform live, I had a similar reaction. Just, you cannot help but feel the spirit. It's like undeniable.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, music is very special.
Music is transformative. My mom is a professional opera singer, and I remember her singing with the Tabernacle Choir as the lead soloist at a rehearsal. I remember kind of going back up after they were rehearsing a little bit more after her solo, and it was like I was in heaven. I
Mm,
started crying on the spot. It was so moving and so powerful. And I love your album. I listen to your spiritual music
mm.
every Sunday when I'm driving to church. And it's so moving, so powerful, sets the tone for me. I'm so excited to come to your concert in August.
Yeah.
I thank you for what you're doing because I know you have a regular job and a family and all that goes along with that. But the service you're giving to others to help invite the spirit into their lives is really powerful.
Oh, thanks.
So
Thank
thank
you
you
very
for what you're
much.
doing. I just want
It's
to
an
know
honor.
how this inspirational musical path has impacted you personally. How have you seen yourself change by being in this world?
Well, I mean, they say you're kind of the product of the five or six closest people, that you surround yourself with in your life. And I'm grateful to just be surrounded, obviously, by my amazing wife and kids, but also just good people. Like I think one of the great blessings of Gentry, like I said before, is it's given us something to rise to, and live up to. We set standards for ourselves. We know that a lot of people count on us, to have standards and to keep doing what we're doing and to do it in a kind of a spirit filled way. And so that is motivating. We could have picked a lot of different types of music, and there's no secret that the entertainment music business can be kind of rough. A lot of people lose their way
Mhm.
in this business, but it's a lot easier to not lose your way when you're singing about Jesus and you're singing about inspiration and daring to dream and hope and love and you'll meet again and all these themes that are just like uplifting. Again, it's just we hopefully uplift a lot of others, but we are uplifted in the process 100% of the time.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I loved our interview and I'm really excited to see you in concert. And for those of you who are listening, he's going to be in concert in Utah at the Hale Theater in August.
Yeah, and then after that, on the road for Christmas tour. So we'll be in Utah, Idaho, Arizona, potentially Southern California, and Dallas. We're hoping to add a couple more stops this year.
Good. And where can people get information on that?
Just gentrymusic.com.
Gentrymusic.com. And where can they find your music?
Anywhere you can stream your music. We do still sell these things. They're really cool. They're called CDs.
Old school.
Yeah. I mean, you can't play them anywhere, but you can use them as coasters. They're really neat. Yeah, just really.
Multi-purpose.
Of course.
Multi-purpose. Well, thank you so much. I've just enjoyed getting to know you better through this interview, and we're looking forward to hearing more about your future here with Gentri. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mary Alice.
This is the What Now Podcast.